Welcome to Accrual Accounting Concepts with your instructor, Jennifer Anderson. After the short presentation, you should be able to differentiate between the cash basis and the accrual basis of accounting. What is accrual basis accounting? Transactions are recorded in the period in which the events occur. Revenues are recognized when services are performed, even if cash was not received. Expenses are recognized when incurred, even if cash was not paid. This method is accepted under Generally Accepted Accounting Principles, or GAAP. What is cash basis accounting? Revenues are recognized only when cash is received, expenses are recognized only when cash is paid, and it's not accepted under Generally Accepted Accounting Principles, or GAAP. Suppose a building company completes construction on a building project. In the current year, it incurs and pays total expenses, such as salaries and other costs, of $50,000. It bills the customer $80,000 but does not receive cash payment until the following year. The table below will show the timing difference between the cash and accrual basis methods. With the accrual basis, in the current year, both revenue and expense are recorded, and nothing is recorded in the following year. However, with the cash basis, the expenses are recorded in the current year because that's when they are paid, and the revenue is not recorded until the following year because that's when it's received, payments received. So there's a big difference between the accrual basis net income and the cash basis net income in both of the years presented. In the example, in order to properly recognize revenue in the accounting period in which the performance obligation is satisfied, regardless of whether cash is received, an adjusting entry to accrue the revenue in the current year is necessary. That entry would be to simply debit accounts receivable for $80,000 and credit revenue for $80,000. Thank you, and please enjoy the additional animated video presentation to illustrate this example and other accrual accounting concepts.
Welcome to accounting class. Today's lesson is on the difference between cash versus accrual basis of accounting. I am your instructor, Mrs. Anderson from Santa Ana College.
Great. That is an important topic and I have a lot of questions.
Accrual basis accounting follows the revenue and expense recognition principles and is accordance with Generally Accepted Accounting Principles, or GAAP.
What do you mean by that?
Companies should recognize revenue in the accounting period in which the performance obligation is satisfied, regardless of whether cash is received.
What about expenses?
Good question. The expenses should be matched with revenues in the period in which the company generated the revenues.
So, let's say a company completed a construction project in the current year and it incurred and paid salaries and other costs of $50,000 but didn't receive any payment for the job.
If you say they billed the customer $80,000 for the work performed, but haven't received cash payment yet. Using accrual basis, the company has accounts receivable of $80,000.
So, even though the company has not received cash payment on the job, they record the revenue.
Exactly. So, accrual basis net income in the current year is $30,000, which accounts for the $80,000 of revenue for service performed less $50,000 of expenses incurred.
If the cash basis was used, expenses would be recorded in the current year but revenue wouldn't be recorded until the cash was received in the next year.
Right. You can see now how the cash basis violates the revenue and expense recognition principles and is not accepted under Generally Accepted Accounting Principles.
In addition to accrued revenue or accounts receivable, which we went over, are there other adjusting entries needed to convert from the cash basis to accrual?
Yes, I'm glad you asked. Next class we will discuss other accrual adjusting entries such as accrued expenses, prepaid expenses, depreciation, and unearned revenues. I hope you enjoyed today's class on the difference between cash basis and accrual basis of accounting. I am Mrs. Anderson from Santa Ana College. Thank you and have a great day.